There's a 5-step process that anybody can follow to start a business for themselves. I used it to start my business and to scale it to 100,000 per year within 2 years. And today I want to break that down for you. Before I get into it though, there's a story that I want to tell you about a quote that Jim Carrey shared when he was giving a commencement speech. He said that you can fail at something you don't want to do, so you might as well take a chance on what you love. And the place that this quote came from was his childhood. His dad was really funny as well, and he could have been a comedian, but instead he played it safe and he became an accountant. What ended up happening was he lost his job and the entire family had to live out of their car for some length of time. I can't remember exactly how long it was. And they all worked as janitors. Now, I'm not saying this obviously to suggest that you need to become famous and make movies like Dumb and Dumber or Ace Ventura, but if you're watching this and there's something you're good at that people would pay for, I would like to suggest that you should make a business out of it, no matter how big or how small it becomes. It can start as a side hustle and then turn into something bigger literally overnight, but you don't know unless you jump in and actually try. If you've seen any of my videos before, then welcome back. But if you haven't, you don't know me and you haven't heard me talk about myself at all, I am a photographer, but I didn't become a photographer until I was 28. I should have when I was 18 because I was going to university for it and I was shooting a lot of film and I loved it. I was obsessed with it, but nobody told me I was allowed to be a photographer. So I kind of took the easier route and did a bunch of stuff that I didn't care about for a long time, for 10 years. But it wasn't until I went out west and kind of had a rethink about my life that I was able to admit to myself that I wanted to be a photographer. And then pretty soon after that, that's what I became. And that brings me to step number 1. Step number 1 is like you actually have to pick the thing that you want to make a business out of. And again, going back to my story here, I had to do something big and kind of life-altering to even arrive at that notion, that new idea. It created the entire ethos for why I even became a photographer, this grand gesture of driving across the country. If that's not realistic for you, then obviously don't do that, but do something simple and achievable, attainable, right? Book a trip somewhere or join some kind of club, take up some kind of new hobby you've been kind of curious about, or even just go for a walk in a neighborhood or an area that you've never done that in before. And what happens when you do that is you have new thoughts come into your mind, new connections get made as you're experiencing that new thing that you've never experienced before, and you'll start to formulate some ideas around what you really enjoy doing the most. You're looking for a moment of clarity. You're looking for some sort of divine symbol or divine lesson or some sort of hint towards the direction that you should be going in. So once you've arrived at that, step 2 is to research it extensively. You need to research this thing wherever you can. So I would always start on Google or even YouTubing certain things. And it can be anything. I wanted to make this video pretty general because everybody's different obviously, and I want to speak to as many people as humanly possible. So I'm not really going to suggest any trendy or specific types of businesses that you can start, but I will say that it is important that you love it. It needs to be something that maybe resonates with who you were when you were a kid, and you need to really feel excited about the thing that business is. I live in kind of central Ontario in Canada right now, which is a place that I've always kind of romanticized since I was a kid. And I have a photo and video marketing business, and most of my clientele are home builders, so general contractors. All of those things are kind of blended into what I do for work. And by reflecting on what I enjoy and what makes me feel good, I've been able to build a pretty cool business that I'm excited to be working on all the time. My little brother has a property maintenance company, Ashcroft Property Maintenance. And he started that because he knew he wanted to not work for somebody anymore, but he wanted to have a business. He started asking me a little bit, like, I don't know what kind of business I could do, and he was thinking a lot about it and trying to pick a thing, only to end up back on, something that he was always interested in. He always loved being outside at his house and working on the outside of the house. He enjoyed small engine stuff. So now a lot of his projects are cutting grass for people, fixing decks, other small handyman projects. He was always really good at doing those things. They came very natural to him. And his business is growing and growing and growing because he spent all that time exploring and trying to pick that business that he could have that resonated with him and just kind of came naturally. And sometimes I'll be on the phone with him and somebody will walk up to his window and it's like a business exchange, like a client or something, and the way he speaks to them is very calm and confident, and you can tell he really cares and he's interested in what he's talking to them about because this thing resonates with him, right? So step 2 is all about understanding if this idea is feasible, if it's attainable, right? So this will depend on your location that you're in. It will depend on a number of things, obviously supply and demand, if people are actually willing to pay for that thing. But at the end of your research session, you should really have a good understanding of the feasibility of this business idea. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to be so insanely original that nobody even knows that they want this business. Tried and true methods are always the best. Also, don't get hung up on thinking that something's too competitive or there's too many of those businesses that exist already. It's literally never the case. I mean, when I started doing photography, there were literally so many photographers, but I make money doing it because I've kind of created my own path with it. And you'll find that if you choose something that resonates with you, the exact same thing is going to happen for you. Now, once you've researched this business idea and this path you want to take as much as humanly possible, you need to make sure that you're not going to get stuck in analysis paralysis. So you need to actually take action, one swift action. And it needs to be an action that doesn't put any limitations in front of you or any sort of objections that are going to become internalized so that you don't actually act on doing this thing. And the easiest and quickest way to do that brings us to step number 3, which is to find a mentor or a teacher or a guide, somebody who is doing what you're interested in, and approaching them and having them help you learn how to do that thing, right? So you picked the thing, that's step 1. You've researched it extensively, that's step 2, and you've really meditated on the idea of having that be a part of your life. And now step 3 is actually getting boots on the ground and making it happen for yourself. So I'm just going to throw a bunch of random stuff out there right now. Some of these might ring a bell for you or be applicable. Some of them might not be applicable whatsoever, but just know that all of these ideas apply to the business world. So say, let's just look at my brother's business. Say you are interested in like landscaping or outdoor stuff, maintaining properties outside. Find a business like that that's kind of small and just ask if you can kind of tag along. Like this could literally be ask them for a job, or it could be, hey, can I come and hang out with you, business owner, and learn from you? There's that. I mean, maybe you want to create some kind of like artisan product or something, like very specific and niche product. My fiance has this friend who has a market, and she goes to markets, she creates candles and other reusable products. You could literally reach out to someone like that if that's the direction you want to go in, and just pitch them. Just say, hey, like I really love what you do, and I was just curious, like, can I just come and help you for free and just learn from you a little bit? And likely they'd be into that. I know for a fact she probably will, because she's crazy busy right now and she could really use a hand, especially if it's just somebody who wants to be mentored, who's happy to help out in exchange for learning. My path was the same. I approached a photographer that I knew years and years before I decided that I wanted to be a photographer, and it was the same thing. I asked him if I could come and hang out with him. He just happened to be building a new photo studio. I just happened to understand construction and how to build things. So I helped him build the studio, and then I spent a year and a half or so working with Mike, and he taught me how to be a photographer. And it wasn't paid. There were some instances where he did pay me. I started doing some weddings for them, like when I got good enough, right? You can't ask someone to pay you to learn. It doesn't work for them, right? You have to help out however you can and be excited and open to the opportunity, because you don't have to go to school for, say, business or the industry that you want to start a business in, but you do have to learn how to do it somehow. And so if you can reframe it in your mind, finding a mentor to teach you how to do stuff, and you're just volunteering your time to learn it, like that's your school, right? Instead of paying for the school with money, you're paying with your free time. So it kind of comes down to how bad you want it. You have to really want it more than anything in the world. And as long as you do, you can have it. You just have to put in the time and the effort and the focus and be open-minded and be dedicated and kind to the people who are helping you along the way. This brings me to step 4, which is branching out on your own, which just kind of comes naturally. There is no right time or place for this solo venture to kind of start, but when it does happen, you're going to feel it and you're going to know. You know, maybe you start getting some ideas about how you could create opportunities for yourself while you're learning from this person, and you're starting to maybe have people inquire with you about providing whatever product or service to them that you're learning how to work with. And again, this can be anything. Maybe it's like leather goods, maybe it's something in e-commerce, maybe it's another physical business, again, property maintenance, maybe it's building decks and fences or something. It can be anything. But once people start to know that you do it, and you are presented with opportunities to do this work for people, provide these products, provide these services, then you're able to start to branch out on your own. For me, it came pretty organically and naturally. It just started to happen a little bit, mostly because I learned how to be a photographer from Mike, but then I decided that video looked like a good opportunity for me. So I learned how to make video, and then I just started making them because I had nothing to do with Mike. He was a photographer. I just started making these videos, and then people were curious about the videos, and here we are. Now I make money making videos for people, taking photos for people. That cost me about 1.5 years of time, right? When you branch out on your own, don't go too fast, right? Don't overextend yourself or put too much pressure on it or expect it all to happen at once, because it takes an extremely long time to build a business, and there's no such thing as a get-rich-quick scheme that doesn't blow up in your face eventually. Because if you're doing something that is considered a get-rich-quick scheme, you will get rich quick, and then it will fizzle out because it's a trend, and then you'll have to find another get-rich-quick scheme, and it will fizzle out because it's a trend, and you'll repeat that infinitely. Whereas if you have followed these steps properly, so step 1, pick your thing. Step 2, research it. Step 3, find a mentor. Step 4, branch out on your own. Then you will have put in a lot of time and effort and meditation into what you're pursuing. And it's something that deeply resonates with you, and it means a lot to you, and you love it. Even when it's hard and stressful and frustrating and you want to stop, you don't, because you've built up this thick skin surrounding any challenges that you're going to be facing. And this brings me to step 5, which is to scale, which is the natural next step of any business endeavor. You can't use the same thing that got you from 0 to 1 to get from 1 to 5, right? You have to think differently and try new things, and you have to take a lot of the profits that you are initially making in your business and invest it directly back into the business. So, let's use my brother's example, property maintenance. If he went around and maybe did some door knocking, he just knocked on some doors and said, hey, I cut grass, you want to sign up for the summer? And he gets a few customers like that. He starts making a little bit of money. He's like, oh, great, this is awesome. I can keep doing this. Then he upsells those people and says, hey, like I noticed your patio was a little rickety. Could I rip up all those stones and put down some screening and put in some new pavers for you? And they said yes to that. Then that's even more money for him. He needs to live, right? So he's going to keep taking these profits in and surviving with that, but then also taking a big chunk of those profits and reinvesting back into his business. So there are multiple ways you can invest into the business. I'd say there's three for most businesses. There's materials or tools, there's people, and there's marketing and advertising, right? So the more profits you bring in that you can afford to invest into those things, obviously the better. If I were to be starting something fresh, I would likely continue to just invest my time into the marketing side of things. And likely I'm biased because I'm a marketing company, like I just understand how that works. But the thing is, if you don't know anything about marketing, then you likely should bring somebody in, right? So investing in people to help you market what it is that you do. Because maybe you know a lot about this business model, the product or the service that you're selling, but you need someone to help with branding, with website stuff, social presence, Google posting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If people don't know that you exist and that they can give you money for the things that you're offering, then you'll likely fizzle out, right? So part of scaling is taking money and redispersing it within the business itself so the pot can get even bigger and bigger and bigger. Unless you're not ambitious, unless you kind of reach a plateau and you feel comfy there and you decide, I don't want to push this any further, which I surprisingly have actually run into. I've, in my business, tried to work with people and they've said they don't want to scale. They don't want more employees or more work or anything, and that's fine. But if that's not you, then yeah, any money you bring into the business, always throw it back in. And for me, anytime I have done this, it's really drastically multiplied the amount of money that I was earning. I gave $10,000 to this guy I met on the internet to teach me more about business and how to run my company better, and that increased my profits. I also put $40,000 into a studio that I built, and that almost doubled my profits. And I know the way I'm talking is making it sound as though it's all about money, which it's not. But it is a big chunk of it, because it can be quite stressful working for yourself, being entrepreneurial. There's a lot of unknowns, and I think the better runway you can build for yourself, the more happy you'll be, the more fulfilled you'll feel, and the better work you can do, the better products and services you can create, because you feel comfortable and confident in the fact that you're good. You're doing what you love, helping people, making money doing it, and the cycle continues and continues on and on. Now, once you've built something sustainable and maybe you've been at it for 3 to 5 years now, you need to sustain it, right? So you've picked the thing, you've researched it, you've found a mentor, you've gone out on your own, and you've scaled, and now it's about sustainability. And this is where the mindset thing comes into play. If you want to create great products and services and be compensated fairly for those products and services, you have to keep your mind sharp. You have to remember that having a business and building a business and keeping it around is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You have your entire life to work on it. You have your entire life to move things around within the structure, switch around your business plan, switch up your marketing strategies and your growth strategies and your hiring processes and your product development strategies. You have your entire life to do that, which is why it is so important to choose the right thing. If you pick the wrong thing, like a get-rich-quick scheme, then this is going to feel daunting and you will treat it like a sprint, and then you'll collapse because you exhaust yourself. And then when you stand back up, the other runners are gone. The race is gone because you're sprinting. Treat it like a marathon, like how a marathon runner would train for a marathon. Work your way up, be patient, and be kind to yourself. Learn from your mistakes. Don't think that because you failed or you made a mistake, it's the end. It's just an opportunity to jump back in with like a better outlook on how to approach that situation. It's a video game. It's like Super Mario. You get through the first level, it's pretty easy. Second level, you die halfway through, and then when you start again, which you always start again, you know that, oh, like halfway through, there's that freaking thing, you got to jump over that, right? So just remember that as you're building and you're doing this forever. It's just a game. You have to have fun with it. So prioritize having fun, not only just in your work, but also in your life. Like just live, you know, and like that is the really, really, really cool thing about having your own business, is that as you build it and as the years go on, you realize what you're actually doing is just building a custom lifestyle for yourself that you never would have had access to if you kept working for the man, you kept working that crappy job that you hated. You now are in this position where you can do what you want with your time. I don't have a clock in here. I don't know what time it is. I have no idea what time it is, and off the top of my head, I don't know what day it is. It's Saturday. Today's Saturday. It's 7 something at night. I worked for a little bit earlier today on my business stuff, and then I took my fiance to get her dress refit. Now I'm filming this video. Tomorrow I'll work on Ashcroft Media stuff. Monday I will for a little bit, and then I'll stop. You get the point here. Like I do what I want when I want. And you can do that as well. If you have a business right now and you're trying to scale and you're trying to grow and maintain, then you know what I mean. And if you don't have a business and you are still working for somebody, you are fully capable of doing your own thing and doing really well at it if it's something that you really love and you're really serious and excited about it. And in saying all that, you know, as you're growing your business, you're keeping it sustainable, just remember to make time for the important things, for your hobbies, for friends, go on trips, do the things that give you energy and relaxation, because in doing those things, you're going to take the energy you gained from it and put it right back into your business every single time you do one of those things. It obviously takes balance, and I like to call it contrast. You know, there's contrasting experiences from opposite experiences in life. You know, when I decide I want to lay around and watch a movie for an hour and a half one night, it comes after working for quite a while and feeling accomplishing a number of things. And then if I'm watching a movie, I get a lot from it because it's my career. I see things in frames and composition and lighting. It's storytelling, so I get lost in a story and I connect with those characters and the stories that are being told in that film in a very kind of profound way that I compare against metaphors in my own life, my own existence. That's why I like watching films. If you have other interests like playing tennis, or I mean, you like going to the bar, like whatever it is, whatever you like doing, hustle and work really hard in your business, but play hard too. You have to do both, because you'll burn yourself out if you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. I made a video a while back called "The Gurus Are Lying to You," and there's a lot that they push in your face about hustling, and that you know, you just got to work harder than everyone else. You just got to push and go harder than everyone else, and it's true to an extent. I feel I've worked harder than anybody else that I know, but the beautiful thing is that now I still work hard, but it doesn't feel hard. It's just what I do, and I'm getting better at blending it with leisure time. And if something comes up and somebody asks me, "Hey Jake, can you come and do this with me?" the answer is yes. Maybe because I live far away from social responsibilities. I moved a few hours away from home. So I'm sure that's part of it too. But say no when you know you should, and say yes when deep down you actually can. If you have work that is in front of a computer, don't force yourself to just sit in front of that computer and pretend you're doing stuff that's valuable, because it's likely not. Remember the 80-20 principle. 20% of the effort you put into things will give you 80% of your output. There are always tasks that are kind of minimal and they seem like they're insignificant, but they're actually the most important tasks that you can do in your work that give you 80% of the output. So you have to develop a deep understanding for that as you go along, of course. Having your own business, no matter what it is literally the best thing in the world. It's the best thing you can do for yourself and your family and, you know, your community. And it's so easy now to start a business. It has never been so easy. It's freaking amazing. Like, you can learn how to do anything on the internet, and you can use the internet to help you make money for yourself. It's insane. Something even as simple as like an e-transfer, or like you can accept credit card payments and put people on a subscription-based service. Again, if you're cutting lawns, subscription, credit card payment. Or if you sell candles, subscription, credit card payment, they get new candles every month. The opportunities are crazy, like they're everywhere. It's hard to pick, you know, that's a big thing. But if you can pick and you commit to it, you can build an awesome business. And, you know, if you're watching this and you made it all the way to the end here, you work so hard for somebody else. Like, why can't you work hard like that for yourself? You can. You're just getting them rich, and that shouldn't be the case. You should be building your own business. Everybody should. We are naturally entrepreneurial. It's in our DNA. Our primitive ancestors would trade things with each other. That's what business is. It's trade. You're trading value for currency. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this one, then be sure to check out this video if you haven't already seen it. This one's about how to pick a career that really resonates with you on a deeper level. Again, thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.